Hello, my name is Kara Piccolo, and this is my unit for assignment for CSD 420 Speech Science. In order to do this assignment, I recorded my own voice using Pratt and evaluated the results based on Zemlin's parameters. We'll go into more detail on each one, but there's 6 of them. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I went about using Pratt before we get into the actual analysis. So first I downloaded the program, and then I recorded myself saying the rainbow passage to obtain a speech sample. The rainbow passage is a pretty lengthy paragraph. I'm not going to say it right now, but basically what it does is it covers all the phonemes for American English. And then once I did that, I just saved the recording, and then it popped up in Pratt in the objects window. So you can see there on the right what that looks like after I selected view and edit. And then what I did is I went ahead and highlighted that entire duration and then went down to pulses and selected view report. This is the voice report that Pratt generated for me. It provided pretty much everything that I needed except for the intensity and amplitude info, but there was another way to do that that was pretty quick and easy. So in the next couple of slides, we'll discuss what these numbers mean a little bit more and analyze the ranges. Parameter 1 is the maximum frequency range. So we're looking at pitch here, and pitch is the perceptive aspect of frequency, so that's just how high or low we perceive sounds to be. My maximum pitch was 478.95 hertz. My minimum pitch was 75.52 hertz, and my average pitch was 192.82 hertz. So what does that all mean exactly? Well, the highest pitch that came out of my mouth was 478 hertz, and the lowest pitch that came out of my mouth was 75 hertz. Since most consonants have a lower pitch, it's going to bring down that average. So you can see on the speech banana over there, most of the consonants are within that lower pitch range. So that's why you can't just add the maximum and minimum and divide by 2 to get your average. What Pratt is actually doing is taking the frequency of every single cycle, adding them all together, and then dividing by the number of cycles. Now that we know my frequency ranges, we need to convert that into octaves in order to see if I fall in line with Zemlin's parameters. So in order to do that, we need to figure out how many semitones there are between my lowest pitch and my highest pitch. We learned the calculation to do that, so basically what you need to do is take the lowest pitch, 75.52, multiply that by 12 root 2, take the next number, multiply by 12 root 2, and keep doing that over and over again until you get to 478.95, and then you can count how many semitones there are. An easier way to do that would be to just look up an octave chart like the one there on the right, and you can just count how many semitones there are. Either way, you can see that there are 32 semitones between my lowest and highest pitches, and we know that there are 12 semitones in one octave. So 32 semitones divided by 12 is 2.7 octaves. According to Zemlin's parameters, adults should have a range of 2.5 to 3 octaves in conversational speech, so I am right there within the normal ranges. Now that we've looked at all of that information, it's pretty easy to figure out parameter 2, which is the speaking fundamental frequency. So we saw that my average pitch was 192.82. Zemlin's parameters say that adult females should be around 200 hertz. So my average pitch is pretty close. It's a little bit lower, but Fran's book gives us an average range of 180 to 250 hertz for adult females. So according to that, I should be right there within normal ranges. Parameter 3 is the maximum phonation time. So this is the only one that I didn't use the rainbow passage for. Instead, I did a new recording where I just sustained the ah sound for as long as I could. I was able to sustain the ah for 16.16 seconds. According to Zemlin's parameters, adults should be able to sustain that sound for about 15 to 25 seconds. So I'm within normal ranges. Parameter 4 is the minimum to maximum intensity at various frequency levels. So intensity is just the perceptive aspect of amplitude. Pratt doesn't include this on the voice analysis page, but it's pretty easy to get that information. If you go up to the intensity tab and click get intensity, get maximum intensity, and get minimum intensity, it'll give you your results. So I had a minimum intensity of 28 decibels, a maximum of 75 decibels, an average of 64 decibels, and a range of 47 decibels between my minimum and maximum. According to Zemlin, adults should have the ability to vary their intensity from 20 to 30 decibels in the mid-frequency ranges. My range is a little bit higher, but that is including those high-frequency consonants. Those aren't filtered out. So I'm pretty close. Normal adult conversations typically an average of 65 to 80 decibels, and my average was 64. So my intensity is slightly low. I recorded this in a silent room though, so I may have accidentally been speaking a little more quietly than I normally would in a conversation. Parameter 5 is the periodicity of vibration. So it sounds very complicated, but really we're just looking at the jitter in your voice, which is how much the frequency of your voice varies from cycle to cycle. We've already learned the formula for this. You take the difference between the frequencies of each cycle in a sample, add them together, and then divide by the number of cycles. So this is what I love about Pratt. In order to do that for a long speech sample like the rainbow passage, it would take a very, very long time. But Pratt just generates all of that information for you, which is really cool. So my relative average perturbation or jitter was 0.867%. According to Zemlin, normal jitter is less than 1%, so I'm within normal ranges. Parameter 6 is noise generated by turbulent airflow. So here we're looking at how much noise there is compared to the signal or the speech sounds. So we can hear noise in someone's voice just from air escaping through their vocal folds. For example, any sort of vocal fold defect like nodules could cause more air to rush out, leading to more noise. So that's when we hear like a harsh voice or a breathy voice. So in order to get this information, we have to look at the harmonic to noise ratio, or the HNR. Zemlin doesn't have any specific range for HNR identified. He just says there should be a normal amount of additive noise in our voice. So I compared mine to Ferrand's parameters, and Ferrand says that adult women should have an HNR of no less than 7.82 decibels for young women, 7.86 for middle-aged women, and 5.54 for elderly women. My results were 11.459 decibels, and that was generated by that vocal report that you see there on the right. So that just means that there's 11.459 decibels of harmonic signal or speech sounds to 1 decibel of noise. That's above the minimum standard as identified by Ferrand, so my HNR is normal. So in conclusion, I've learned that Pratt makes life a lot easier for SLPs, and I've learned that my voice might be slightly low in intensity, but that also could have been just me unintentionally speaking more quietly than normal. But otherwise, my vocal quality is average in regards to every other one of Zemlin's parameters.